love your enemies and do good to those who hate you. Wow, that's a hard line to hear. I mean, last week we heard about how we're called to love one another, and we hear that regularly. But now Jesus takes this one step further, almost outrageous step further. It's not just love those who are around you. He said, love your enemies and do good to those who hate you. You know, it doesn't sound reasonable to our mind, and certainly, I mean, we might intellectually think, oh yeah, that's good, but when we actually come to do it, ooh, now that's hard. Whatever the other is, whatever enemy we have, whoever we are tempted to dislike greatly or maybe even hate, we are called to love them. See, Jesus reorders a lot. He quotes the golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That was it's in the Deuteronomy as one of the laws of the Lord. But he takes it a step further. He deepens it and calls his disciples, the ones who call themselves Christian, well, we are, we must have a higher standard, a deeper reality. He doesn't just say it's not enough, you see, to love just your family. It's not enough to love those of your extended family, your community, even us as Christians, Catholics. It's not enough even to love just our nation or our tribe. It's not enough to love all those in whatever order you might think they are. There's no hierarchy. See, the Lord is not saying that. The Lord is very clear. The highest standard is you love everybody. And he gives the most difficult of all to do. He says to love those who do not follow you, you do not like. He uses the harsh word of hate. It's a hard thing to hear, but that's the call for all of us, is to be this type of Christian. That's what we are called to do. The question is, like, how could we possibly, what does that look like? How could we do that? Well, the good news is he gives us the steps right away. He doesn't leave us hanging. He says to be kind and merciful, just like the Father is kind and merciful to you. He said, you can only give what you got. He said, but you've got this as a gift. So now pass it on. So he's saying the only way which we can do this is to receive what the Lord has given us and to then pass that on. To receive the gifts that God has given, his love primarily, his mercy, his kindness. And then we're called to love. Again, we can quickly give assent to it, but it's hard because you say, well, how do I be kind and merciful then? As the responsorial psalm says, be kind and merciful. Well, let me give you an example. I just got back from LA, the LA Congress, a religious education congress. And one of the sessions, we had some really awesome sessions down there at these talks, but the one was a book which we've read, the mental health group have read some time ago, was from a woman called Anne Kurtz-Kurian, and it's Spiritual Practices for the Brain. Wonderful book if you ever get an opportunity to time. But in it she highlights some really powerful statistics, really research, like that we're wired for kindness. That we're wired for kindness. That we have actually evolved in our kindness. So when we're not kind, in a sense, we're a little bit more like our ape brothers and sisters. When we're not kind, that's what we're like. We're closest to our very dear ancestors a long time ago when we're not kind. Because kindness is an evolved state of being. Empathy is an evolved state of being. And how do we know that? Because the strongest survived. The fittest survived. Remember, you've heard that, right? You know who that is? Who's that? Charles Darwin. But you know what he meant by the strongest? The strongest in kindness. They were the ones who survived. And the reason why, because in the savannah, if you were selfish, they left you out there on your own. Oh, yeah, you go have that animal. Yeah, go ahead, you have it. You take that one on your own. And that animal will take him. The strongest survivors when they were kind and they gathered together and they fought in the savannah to survive. So think kindness equals survival. Empathy equals survival. Mercy equals survivor. It's our evolved state of being. So if you have a temptation to give back or to retribute against something, say we want this or we want that, I want my pound of flesh, I want that. Just think that you're going back to your ancestors on the savannah who did not survive. See, we're the evolved ones that Christ came into the world and showed us the way. The kindness and mercy is what we're called to share. Now, we know now that it is instinctively part of who we are as human beings. It's our survival. So we must continue to do it to everyone, not just my family, not just my community, not just my tribe, not just my country, but my whole world, because we are one family, made in the image and likeness of God. It is God who gave us the gift. It is God who is kind and merciful to us. And so all we're doing is receiving and passing it on. Kindness and mercy is instinctually our evolved, higher state of being. It's what we are called to as Christians. Be merciful, unkind.